Hi, my name is Sarah Clayton, and this is my story about Flip the Script. So the story starts in late 2020 in Zambia, Lusaka. And I have been running companies across Africa for a very, very long time. And a lot of my side gig work has been picking up stray animals and taking them into the veterinary clinics and getting them the help that they need. As a massive animal lover, Africa can be quite a tough place to find yourself in. And this October, I was there and late in the evening received a call about a really bad case that had come into one of the local vets that I knew quite well. And I immediately went through there and met with this vet, and she said, well, here's this little puppy. We've got her out of this very low-income area, and she was being tortured really brutally for about 3 days. And a Good Samaritan had intervened when she heard the screams of this little dog, who was at that time covered in methylated spirits and on fire. And so she rushed this little puppy to the vet. And when I got there and I met the little dog, she was bandaged from head to toe, absolutely broken and just in a real state. And I said to the vet, look, is this even something that we want to try to deal with, or should we, just put her down? Humane euthanasia might be the best choice here. And she said to me, well, just spend a little bit of time with her, and you're going to see what an incredibly strong will to live this little dog has. And so I spent a little bit of time with her, and she had these little flickers of her tail wagging as I spoke to her, and she licked my hand and sort of squealed gently as I spoke to her and stroked her gently on the places that weren't burnt. And I was absolutely moved that a being could have gone through what she had gone through for all of those days and could still be so engaged and so willing to trust and to be open. So we decided that we would give this little dog a chance. And soon after that, I found out that the people that had done this to her were 3 young children, 6, 8, and 12 years old. And I just went cold all across my body, just trying to reconcile that and to come to terms with what could lead 3 young kids to be doing something so violent to a voiceless sentient being. It just seemed unthinkable and unreconcilable. So we went through several phases, and it's almost like phases of grief, because we were looking at the situation and going, what does it take for people to get to a point where they're capable of doing that? And it was so much easier in that moment to look at the situation and to go, these kids are monsters, there's no hope, there's no possible trajectory in the future that's going to end well for any of them, and to be all about the animal. But as someone who really likes to get into solutions and how we can get beyond these situations, I really wanted to go deeper into what the root causes were and how did we end up in this position in the first place. Because even if I opened an animal sanctuary, which we did do, we were never going to deal with the problem in a meaningful way if we weren't addressing where it came from in the first place. So when we look at these kinds of problems, I think it's very, very easy to become polarized. And it's very easy to want to see people as all of one thing. So we want those children to be all bad because they did something so horrific to this dog. But the reality is that it's never as polarized as you would like it to be. It's always a lot more complex, and it's always a lot more involved. And so I really had to make space and hold space for my rage and my responsibility in that same moment. And I needed to imagine what possibilities existed for people to be in that type of position where that was a possibility. And in this particular case, it was the father of these kids that had actually given them the instruction to do what they did to this dog, because he believed that she had put a curse on his newborn in the household. And so the whole thing was rooted in superstition. And when we look at that kind of action, what we're actually looking at is someone surrendering all their power to something like myth that they have absolutely no control over. So you have to imagine that person is experiencing the world as completely unstable, completely unpredictable, and completely hopeless, really. So we did work with the father. He did get arrested and prosecuted for what he'd done, but at the same time we'd engaged with the local law enforcement to really work with the children and teach them about animal sentience and the intrinsic value of life, with a hope that they would learn through that experience that what they had done was not okay, and that they would have more insight into everything that would hopefully take them forward into the future with a greater degree of empathy. And so our process, our thinking was that empathy is something that can be dumbed down massively in specific situations, but it is something that can be nurtured, and it is something that can be evolved in people over time. And so we decided that the Foundation's approach to this problem would be to create experiences that demonstrated empathy in action for children and for adolescents and even for adults, where they would be exposed to situations that would teach them about empathy, about emotional intelligence, self-awareness, all of these fundamental skills that can actually really drive the development of capable and kind, empathetic people into the future. It is a reminder that life is not about black and white. It's not about being polarized, that no one person is all good or all bad, and that there's a lot of complexity to the human state and the human condition. It's easy to allow ourselves to think in a polarized way. It's a lot more difficult to sit with the discomfort of having to understand the perspective or the position or the circumstances that led a person to a specific space, especially when it sits at odds with our feelings around the world or our feelings around situations and the way things should be. So I hope that there is an awakening to a new way to look at the complexity that we face in the world, and that there is a doorway that is opened to a methodology or a way to address this complexity and take things forward in a positive way. So we're in the process of building the first Global Empathy Project campus in Lusaka in Zambia. And this is a campus that is a multitude of facilities that cover both animal interests and human interests, and create a variety of different touch points for us to influence the emotional development of children and adolescents through a variety of different mediums. So we've got sports facilities, we've got an amphitheatre, we've got a community centre, an education facility, we've got the animal shelter, the dog training facilities, equine therapy facilities, a whole range of different spaces where we can run programs that demonstrate the power of empathy in action and hopefully nurture within these children a new way of being, a new perspective that they're able to carry forward in the world. I'm Sarah Clayton, and this is my story of Flip the Script.